And it's hello from Scotland.
And hello from Tennessee.
And today is our third and final chat on developing mediumship. Is self-doubt holding you back? If it is, apart from getting more confidence...
Okay, Mark, do you want to say that without the double
Yeah,
layers?
I think so. I'm sorry, I edited the video files tonight in a hurry. And that was last week's subject with this week's subject. So this week's subject is our third video on the subject of when you're starting out to develop as a medium. And today we're dealing with self-doubt and self-skepticism and how to deal with it.
Yes.
Now, before we do that, obviously we're going to give you our usual little bit of news. But before we do that, I have picked up some comments from people that they don't believe that this accent is for real, that they actually think I'm a false Scotsman. And I'm not pointing the finger at anybody that comes from Tennessee.
I didn't say a thing.
So, last Saturday was the 25th, which is Burns Night, which if you're not into Scotland or if you're not Scottish, you probably think, what the hell is Burns Night? But it's one of the biggest Scottish events of the year. I was out having lunch with two friends from business, but never mind. And it was a Burns lunch, not a Burns supper. And we made this little video, which is on Facebook. I'm going to just prove that I am Scottish. Here you go.
Okay.
Therefore, your honest soncy face, great chieftain of the Poon race, aboon the mat, you tak your place, paint, bright or thin, wheel are you worthy or grace as lines.
This is Marc Stuart, the Scottish medium, saying hello from Scotland on Burns Night, 25 January 2025. This is a rendition that I witnessed and filmed in Henderson's delightful restaurant in the capital, Edinburgh. Please enjoy and make sure you stay to the end, where I'm going to give you some dress advice on what kilt to wear this evening.
Celebrate one of his favourite meals, which basically cemented it in Scotland's national dish. Now, of course, here today we have a much nicer haggis, for which no sheep died. The best vegan haggis I've ever had. But I am here to, amongst other things today, address the haggis as is traditional for a Burns supper. So what happens in this poem is he praises the haggis, its flavours. He talks about people diving in to get as much as they can. He then, unfortunately, does have a bit of a go at the French, as is traditional for Scots poetry. You have to have a bit of casual racism thrown in there. And talks about how inferior French foods are, like fricassee. But a man fed on haggis will be strong enough to dash across the field and chop off any arms and legs and heads they used to. So, this is to a haggis, and we've got a lovely 11-week-old here, so it might be a slightly more subdued to a haggis. I wouldn't do too much screaming. Therefore, your honest soncy face, great chieftain of the Poon race, aboon the mat, you tak your place, paint, bright or thin, wheel are you worthy or grace as lines, my dad. The groaning trencher there, you fill your hurries like a distant hill, your pin would help to mak a mill in time of need, while through your pores the dews distill like amber beat. His knife, see rustic labour dicht, and cut you up, ready sliced, trenching your gushing entrails, bricht like honey ditch, and then, what a glorious thing, warm, reeking, rich. Then horn for horn they stretch and strive, deal at the hindmost, on they drive, till all their wheel swole kites alive are bent like drums, and all good man mace like to rive with thanking tongues. Is there that our is French, ragout, or fricassee with stores sour, all the o would mak her spew with perfect scunner, looks doon with sneer and score for view on sick of dinner? Poor devil, seeing all his trash, as feckless as a withered lash. His spindle shank a good whiplash, his knee a nick. Through bloody flood or field to dash, oh, how unfit. But Marc, the rustic, haggis fed, the trembling earth resounds his tread. Clap in his wally knee, but believe he'll make it whistle, and heads and arms and legs will smed like taps of thistle. Ye powers will make mankind your care and dish them out the bill of fare. All Scotland wants nae stinking ware that jokes and luggies, but if you wish her grateful prayer, gie her a haggis. Thank you.
Oh, that was so good.
Now, there are many different ways of wearing kilts across the world. Different countries have interpreted the true Scottish kilt. Here you see two styles. On the left, young woman's kilt, mini skirt style, but also suitable for Highland dancing. On the right, very specifically, this is a woman's kilt as worn by men in the United States, identified by the length, which for the man is above the knee. Now, here on the right, we have the modern Scottish man's kilt, identifiable by the length, which, if you take a good look, covers the knees. Obviously, as the man walks around, you will see the knees as he alters his gait. To call this a traditional kilt would be maybe slightly misleading, as it was adopted during Victorian times. Traditional kilts were blankets worn around the entire body, not really worn in modern times. And this is just a guide, but this is the kilt that you should be seen wearing on Burns Night. So just to be absolutely clear, so there is no confusion, the kilt should be below knees length for men, above knees length for women and American men.
Well, I'm going to say one little thing, and you all correct, if you're watching here, correct me if I'm wrong. I bet there's very few Americans that could literally understand that Scottish guy's poem.
But that was English.
It didn't sound like English.
Well, trust me.
I got most of it. Don't get me wrong. But I'm also used to listening to Scottish accents all the time. And most people aren't. So, yeah.
Okay.
So, y'all, if you understood it, go ahead and laugh. It was a great poem. If you didn't, let me know.
Let's just clarify. There are 3 languages spoken in Scotland. Gaelic, which is a different
language, yeah.
Very similar to French, and it dates way back.
Right.
Then you've got English, which is what I speak, with a Scottish accent. And there are many regional accents. The further north you go, the more traditional Scottish it goes. The more west you go to Glasgow and beyond, the more unintelligible it becomes. But it is still, if you break it down, the same English that I'm speaking.
Right.
What you heard there is what we call Scots, which dates back about 300 or 400 years, and it's a dialect where we use semi-Gaelic words as English. Now, many of those words are still used. Many of those words are still used. So, for example, loch. Now, people outside of Scotland, like Americans, when they come, they call it a loch, but it's pronounced loch. And it basically is a massive lake. So, for example, Loch Ness, as in Nessie, is actually the deepest lake on the planet, which is why we kind of think that there is something down there that we've never found. But that's Scots. If I sit here for the next half hour, I'm sure I could think of other words.
I'm sure you could think of them, but you've even written to me in Scots, and I've been a little confused, but that's all right.
So, ochai the new, which just basically means okay just now, is an example.
Okay.
Bonnie lassie, like you're a bonnie lassie, where I'm complimenting you and saying that you're a beautiful lady or girl. So again, those are very simplistic versions of Scots. If you go to America and if you travel around, you'll find regional accents. That's really what Scots is. It's the Scottish version of English. Not really spoken very much, but that was a poem by Robbie Burns, as in Burns Night, dates back, I don't know what, about 150 odd years. And that's basically the language that virtually all his poems were written in. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked.
Anyway,
we've got a lot of news to give you. First off, if you were looking for our broadcast last Sunday, tough, we didn't do one. We're only doing them now once a week on Wednesdays. Reason for it's very simple. We've been talking about RAIN, our AI system, and our advertising, and bringing people to the three circles, and there's one in... there's one in 19 minutes.
19 minutes.
Yeah. We've been overwhelmed by the response. So we've decided to run 3 circles now a week instead of 2, and basically trying to do a circle and then fit one of these in between the 2 circles and do one after. And if we did this plus the circle, effectively we're going for 5 hours. And okay, 5 hours is a good working day, but when you're open to spirit, 5 hours is killer. So we just decided, and we've got the other 2 streaming events coming up. Walks on Sunday with Marc and Ying, and Marc and his cards, if and when we ever get them started. So we don't want to flood the market too much. So I've decided to cut Devi in half. She's already the smallest medium. And
now I'm going to be the half smallest medium.
Crossways, yeah. So we're
crossways. Do I get to keep the top half or the bottom half?
I don't know. Well, actually, that's a good question, because that does lead into another little bit. This really isn't news. This is gossip. I'm not going to say who, and I'm not going to say where, because I don't want to attack anybody and I don't want to be sued for slander, although her advert was very specific. We have come across...
a medium.
Well, let's go back a wee bit. Devi and I teach a style of mediumship which includes codes, like things that you do and things that you don't do. Treating spirit with respect, things that you don't do because you open yourself up to being sued, like diagnosing somebody as being ill, right. Predicting the future. I mean, we're not doing a training event, but lots of things like that you just don't do. Right. Which does actually feed into what we're talking about with confidence. And I didn't plan it this way, but I suppose what I'm about to describe does feed into somebody having super confidence to do this. Now, I am you'll know that if you watch me, I am extremely critical of American mediums. There are good mediums, don't get me wrong. There are some very good American mediums. I've met some of them. Patty Valentine, shouting out a reference, is one of them. And there are some other really good mediums that I've interacted online, but 95% of what the Americans call mediums wouldn't survive more than 5 minutes if they came over to Scotland, which is the basis of what we do. We teach people real Scottish style mediumship, and it gives them a unique selling point when they're out there earning a living. And if they go to a psychic fair, they just blow everybody away. Anyway, if this medium appeared at a psychic fair, they would have to close the place.
She does.
Yeah. The basic gist of the advert is she describes herself as first off, she's confused between psychic and spiritual. So she calls herself a psychic medium. However, she's going to connect you with your spiritual team. Now, I don't actually know what your spiritual team is. I'm assuming it's your guides, and I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt that it's guides. Now, can you connect somebody with their guides? Yes, in a circle environment you can. I don't believe you can do it in the environment that she's suggesting, because the killer line, the absolute killer line. I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep a straight face because I just can't believe this. She does it in the nude. Yes.
No, you both have to be nude. You both.
You both have to be nude. There are implications that other things come spiritually or non-spiritually after she does it in the nude with you, but that's why I'm going to not say where to find her.
There were no implications that anything else happened. There were none. But there were none.
Okay.
There were none. Yeah. He's a man.
Maybe it's just my male assuming that, okay, fair enough. We'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Nothing happened beyond the spiritual encounter in the nude. Now, as I say, we're not going to give any indication where we found her, except that she's on social media. And when people see this, I'm quite sure every male spiritualist is now searching the internet, and I'm expecting 100 direct messages. Marc, where? Well, I'm sorry. I'm not telling.
I actually think people would pay us to keep our clothes on. So.
Yeah, that line was drawn between the two of us. Anyway, let's get back to what we're doing because we're running out of time and we've got 4 people coming to the circle if anybody wants to join us. So, what's our first topic going to be?
Journey.
What are you going to do about it?
That was wrong. I really do need to get a disc jockey.
Yes. There we go. Why do we doubt ourselves?
So,
Because
Devi,
everybody does.
Yeah, it's just natural. I would actually say if you don't doubt yourself, even as a professional medium on a church platform, if you don't doubt yourself, you shouldn't be on platform. The thing you shouldn't doubt though is spirit. You should have complete faith in spirit, and that will overcome your self-doubt. But it's okay. I actually think it's good. I mean, I always feel self-doubt when I get on stage. I mean, you've seen me work on stage, Devi. Have you ever detected that in me?
Well, I know you pretty well. I can tell. But,
yeah. But I mean, you've seen me do a good performance.
Yes, no, he doesn't look nervous. But yeah, I get panicked every time I do a reading. I get nervous or doubt myself, or what if it doesn't happen? Or
like I said, the minute you stop self-doubting, you shouldn't be doing mediumship. But that doesn't mean to say you should be sitting there quivering. You've got I suppose it's the old adage, what is courage? Courage is being scared and getting up and still doing whatever you've got to do in the battle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what's the next bit?
Here comes the rain again, falling from...
Well, I suppose that actually gets to that does actually get to the very nuts of what we do as spiritual mediums. Yes. I mean, what we do is a very structured reading. I mean, this is not a reading, people. But I'm going to play act with Devi. Okay. So, Devi, can I give you a reading?
Of course.
Devi, and again, this is play acting. Devi, I've got a man coming forward. He's bald like yourself. I get the feeling he died of cancer, maybe leukemia. Obviously, he didn't survive the treatment. He was very weak. I don't think that killed him, though. I think he was run over after he was in recovery mode. Does this mean anything to you?
Yes. He was run over by what?
Devi,
what was he run over by? I need to know.
I see you driving the car. Were you driving the car, Devi? Okay. So, having established that we've got our ex-husband who's now dead, we then give a message. So, Devi, he's telling me that you're selling your house and you've had 2 offers and you can't make your mind up between the 2 offers. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, one of them's more money, but you don't like the people. The other one is less money, but they can pay you quicker because the higher one needs a mortgage, and that's causing the self-doubt, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and your husband's saying take the lower one because the mortgage is going to be withdrawn. Now, that's a load of crap. Not the kind of readings that we do. That is the kind of readings, that is the kind of messages that we do give that are very evidential. But the skepticism should be in the medium until Devi, the sitter, confirms, if that makes sense.
And I always am. Whenever I'm giving a reading, I'll give evidence and evidence and evidence, and I'll think I'm way out in left field until the sitter goes, oh, yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah, absolutely. There you are. I just put myself back the right way around.
There you go.
I just noticed. Devi, you should have told me I was back to front.
I didn't know. You don't look that much different back to front.
I'm looking in the wrong direction, and I'm now to start calm. Anyway, maybe I should do that all the time. Okay. Anyway, so you should be skeptical until you get confirmation. I suppose it feeds into the self-doubt. This is the way of demolishing the doubt, because when you're giving the reading and the sitter's going, oh my God, yes, through the evidence, by the time you get to the message, you're standing there saying, can I really say this? Well, by the time you get to that, yes, you can, because your confidence has been built up. Okay, so what's the next one?
So the next one is building trust in your own mediumship.
Well, isn't that really what I just said? I'm
Yeah.
going too fast. Yeah.
You got ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
You've got to be confident. Now, I know that sounds the reverse of everything that I've just said, but it's not, because you've got to have the confidence to step up. Okay, not everybody does stage work, not everybody does church work. You might just be doing private readings, but you've got to have the self-confidence in yourself that Spirit is going to communicate through you and that you can deliver what Spirit is saying. Now, I'm going to be blunt, and yes, I'm going to push what we're doing. You have to be trained properly.
Yeah.
Our adverts have been getting all sorts of comments being made, and one of them was somebody that threw up, but you have to be a natural medium. You can't learn it. As I say, anybody that comes to one of our training events, excuse me 1 second, let me just click. Anybody that comes to our training events, one of the first things that we teach them is essentially that anybody, and I mean anybody, can learn to do what we're doing. It's catch 22. Not catch 22, it's the reverse of catch 22. Anyway, sorry. Yeah. So essentially just trust in yourself, trust in Spirit, and it's evidential. So as you get the evidence, your confidence will get built up.
Absolutely.
So
what do you mean by wobbly?
Wobbly stage. It's very easy to go too confident. And what do I mean by that? I mean, again, Devi, you've seen me work.
He's gone too confident, yeah.
I can come off that stage going, wow, look at me, I'm wonderful. And then everybody's running up to you saying, oh, Mark, that was wonderful. I mean, for example, the church that you filmed, that you can actually see on my website, I was walking around there thinking I could walk on water.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd given somewhere in the region of 20 messages from the church platform. I had taken 4 people that didn't have the confidence to give more than, and these were the church mediums. They didn't have the confidence to do more than 2 or 3 readings in a church service. And I got each one of them doing, what, 2 or 3 readings each on average?
Yeah.
Yeah. Each one of them was standing up going, bang, bang, bang. Now, they were accomplished mediums. They'd been sitting in a circle. I hadn't trained them. I had only given them a 5-minute training in terms of change the way you work. Do it this way. This will help you to do rapid fire. And they trusted me, and they did it. And good on every single one of them. They all gave excellent messages.
Absolutely.
And of course, I was going, oh, wow, I can teach. I mean, I know I can do that. That's my key skill. But I was going, oh, wow, this is wonderful. The church president sort of turned around to me and said, Mark, when are you coming back? Will you run a training course for us? Oh, yeah, of course. So I walked out of that church thinking I literally had wings and I could fly across the road.
Did. And then something happened when he was driving home. I don't remember what it was, but it was pretty stupid, and that brought him down again.
Yeah. Spirit slapped something at me to say, Mark, get your feet back down on the earth. So as you're starting out, when you start working and you give your first reading, good, feel confident. When you maybe do 2 or 3 readings at a psychic fair, great, feel confident, but don't let that confidence go to your head, because Spirit will then turn around and pull the rug out from you. That's happened to me. I've gone in to do a reading. I've felt super confident because of an event that I had done, maybe online or in a church. And then my guides just turned around and put a hand and grabbed and left me standing there like an absolute utter fool. So don't let your ego take over, because you'll end up, Now, finally,
the power of affirmation and community.
Basically, don't do it by yourself.
No, you need a circle.
Yeah. Start with a circle, but as well as a circle, you need people around you that support you. There are going to be skeptics. You're going to run into skepticism everywhere. I mean, for example, I had somebody apply. We've been advertising for jobs for the business. I had somebody come forward, apply for a job to do some computer work. As you can see, we're fairly techy. We're in the process of building a third AI to help with the training. So he had the skills, he was brilliant. And then he turned around, I was literally about to offer him the job. And he turned around and said, look, I'm really sorry. Whilst I believe I've got people on the other side and I would love to get messages from them, people around me would, if I did this job, I couldn't stand it. And now that's not somebody training to be a medium. That was somebody coming to work for a medium.
Yeah, he just wanted to work for a medium, and he thought he was going to get hell for that. So yeah.
Yeah. So imagine when you yourself are in that situation. Well, it will happen. Get used to it.
Most of my family thinks I'm ridiculous.
Well, I must admit, I am the reverse. Every member of my family is supportive, mainly, but then again, they're all Scottish. It was actually my sister that went to spiritual church well before I did, when she was when we were a lot younger. And it was kind of her that opened up my eyes that it existed. Then she stopped going out of it, and about 10 years later, I went along myself, and the rest is history. Okay, we've only got 5 minutes left, and we're going to have to finish up. So just our usual wrap up. If you want details of our reduced number of coming up events, streamed events, register here for our circles. That's the wrong one. That's if you want to come to the circles, register there. If you want to see the videos that we were talking about Devi and I in America, and we'll be getting ready to plan our next trip, which will be around about May or June, go have a look there. That's where you have to go and register if you want to get the newsletter that we put out. Please, wherever you're seeing this, if you're seeing this on YouTube or Facebook, follow, subscribe, like. It's a great help. That's me just saying I'm going to be doing my streamed events with the cards if I ever get around to filming.
Eventually he'll get there. And Sunday walks with Marc.
And again, if it ever stops snowing or raining at the weekend, I'll do that. Okay, folks. Well, we've got a circle to go around. It's been a pleasure. If you want to come to the circle, go to the newsletter. Bye-bye, and we'll see you next
week, next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. So just remember, whatever time you watch this at, we do them live at 10:30 UK time. Devi, American times?
That is 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central, 3:30 Mountain, and 2:30 Pacific.
Yeah. Sundays, we're not doing them anymore. So we've covered that. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see y'all next week.